and then you can manipulate the mags with your thumb and things like that. Now you can get ambidextrous releases and safeties and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you have a rifle that's set up and that's the way you're going to use it. However, if you are in the military or you're a civilian contractor where they don't have left-handed rifles and you're going to have to shoot a right-handed rifle in combat, unfortunately, what I'm just going to say is deal with it. Learn how to run that rifle anyway. Pay more attention to the mechanics and how it operates, and learn how to run them correctly. Unfortunately, the 7% of you people that are wrong-handed, the world, as you've already figured out, it's not going to conform to you. And what I would recommend is, when your life counts on it, don't plan on having a left-handed weapon to drive. It's just not going to work out that way. So practice with your offhand. Right-handed or left-handed, doesn't matter, but practice with the other one. The first time you shoot offhand should not be when you're wounded in combat, and it's one of the things that people don't really like to do, but practice it, and it's not really that hard, and just incorporate it into your training program and make sure that that you have a substantial amount of your training that's dedicated to offhand shooting. All right, turning, shooting at targets to our left or right or behind us, things like that, turning around efficiently. One of the only real point I really make in classes about this is to not bring the gun out as you're turning around. Not just because it's unsafe to do on the range, but that muzzle can be easily averted. So you can actually get a firing grip on your handgun or get a firing grip on your long gun before you're all the way turned around. But don't bring it to bear until you are oriented toward that target, just as a tactical thing, not just as a safety issue. But let's just talk about it. Basically, from Sewell, turning, and same from high ready if the target's to your left. From behind, really no different. You turn, bring the rifle up. Same for high ready. Offside, another magazine. From the right side, from high ready on the right. Now I'm trying to stay within the frame of the camera while I'm doing these, but keep in mind, as you turn, you can still move away, move a step as you're turning. The confines of the camera system don't really allow me to show that properly. But keep in mind, just because you're turning doesn't mean you have to stand on the same axle. You can move away as you're turning. If you're here, you can certainly, as you're turning, step away, take a big step, and not only move off the line of attack, but bring your weapon to bear at the same time. All right, let's talk about kneeling position. Certainly we would use kneeling position if we were behind some kind of a low barricade or something like that, but could possibly be a time when you need to use kneeling position when there's no cover around. And that would be if you were in some type of crowded environment where you needed to make a shot on somebody, but there are people behind him. This happens pretty frequently with police and things like that, and kneeling could be a potential answer. When you're practicing kneeling on the range, though, or anything supine or anything like that, what we need you to do is make sure that the berm is tall enough to support that type of training. So that rule number 4 that we talked about, be sure of your target and what's beyond it. We need you to, actually I think I've named that as number 3, but irrelevant. We need you to make sure that you don't see blue sky behind your target. Make sure that berm is still there, and if it's borderline, if it's close to not being in, don't do it. Now, something you can do to kind of get around this is move closer to the berm and lower your targets on the stands. Okay, so lower the targets and get closer to the berm. That'll help you use shorter berms to do these drills, but please be careful. We have to be responsible shooters. We want to keep all the rounds on the range, and we don't want to ruin it for anybody else. So that's just a safety note for doing this drill. But again, kneeling is something you might want to do if you need to change your position to shoot somebody in the crowd. And nothing fancy. Nothing fancy, you just kneel down and shoot. I'll kneel down this time and just do a head shot, just you know, just because that's the highest part of the body we can aim at, and that might be the place that we need to shoot.
Stop!
And as you can see, we're pretty close to the berm because I've got mud coming back on me, so that works out pretty well. Anyway, when you're going to do drills like from kneeling or anything low to the ground, please be careful, and just keep in mind that there are reasons to use kneeling that have nothing to do with getting behind a piece of cover. It might be the best tactical position for you to be in to make that shot.